Hello everybody, my name is Waddles. Yesterday's 19W11A snapshot completely changed iron farms forever. Big changes have happened. Today's video is going to be all about those iron farm changes and iron farms in general. I will be going over some of the old farms, some of the new mechanics, and of course, a working design that I came up with. And I'm pretty happy and proud of myself for coming up with this design. I've been messing with the mechanics for a good few hours now, and finally I've come up with something that works. So with so many different topics in this video, there will be timestamps down in the description to the different video parts if you're just looking for one thing. If you enjoy the video, do me a favor, drop a like, subscribe, and of course, go check out my Twitter. Drop a follow over there as well. I've been tweeting quite a bit lately, as always, and a lot of those tweets recently have to do with the new update as well as content that I am working on. But with all of that out of the way, let's slide into the first segment of this video. I am sad to report that all iron farms that were designed before the 1.14 update no longer work. We unfortunately have to say goodbye to this super simple iron farm floating in front of me, and even more unfortunately, we have to say goodbye to the massive iron farms that the community has come up with over the past few years. So yes, 1.14 does indeed break all iron farms, unfortunately including the Iron Titan, but it's not all bad news. Initially, upon, learning that all iron farms would be broken, I was a little bummed out and a little annoyed. However, after having some time to process the news and think about the new mechanics, I think this change is for the better. So don't get me wrong, I am in no way complaining that old iron farms are broken. I think this is a good thing, and this video will hopefully make you think that too. You see, change is a good thing sometimes. Change can bring a community together, and I think that is exactly what this change is going to do. I'm sure this community will come together and in time come up with a brand new, efficient, and crazy cool iron farm design. And change can also be necessary to move things forward. If Minecraft as a game wants to continue to evolve and move forward as it has done for the past 10 years almost now, some things are going to have to change. Sometimes old designs and old techniques and old farms will just have to change. And if mechanics and designs and things like that never change, then unfortunately, I think that's where something would begin to actually genuinely die off. So to sum up everything I've just said, the old iron farms don't work, but the change and the new stuff is probably for the better and a good thing. Let's move on to the new mechanics. Iron farms work off of village detection. Old iron farms, like the one that has been in front of me for the past few minutes now, worked off of really the doors in this farm. Based on how the doors were placed, the game would think that this is a village here and begin to spawn golems inside of this farm. And as of 1.14, doors are no longer related to iron farms or golem spawning at all. You don't need to have any doors whatsoever for an iron golem to spawn. Instead, golem spawning is now tied to three big things. And those three big things are 1. Villager workstations, so blocks like the composter, the stone cutter, and so on. Beds, because in 1.14 villagers now will need to sleep. And then village meeting points, which is the most mysterious mechanic involved of the three iron golem spawn requirements. So let's break down the workstation requirement first, because that's the easiest one. In the 1.14 update, villagers will need to have access to their workstation to trade. Their workstation is the block that is directly tied with whatever their job is. These blocks are for the most part the new blocks, but some blocks aren't new. For example, the leatherworker profession is tied to the cauldron, and the cleric profession is tied to the brewing stand. So, if the villager can access their workstation, we can move on to condition number 2, the beds. In 1.14, villagers will claim beds as their own. At nighttime, villagers will go and lay down in those beds. When laying in those beds, villagers won't be able to trade with you. For iron golems to spawn, villagers will need to have access to their bed, meaning they can get to the bed. Of course, you can have a door in between the villager and the bed, but if you have something that a villager can't open, like a fence gate or something, then the bed is not accessible and this condition will not be met. So once you know the villager can access its bed, we can move on to the third and final spawn condition. And that final condition is meeting points. Now, I've got to be honest here, I don't know everything about the whole meeting point mechanic. To my understanding, villagers will just sometimes kind of meet up in an open space, and that is a meeting point. I do have a hunch that these meeting points are tied to the bells, but that is just a hunch. This is not actual information. As you will be able to see in just a few moments, my meeting point is just some open space kind of marked by a bell. Because the mechanics are so new, I still am trying to figure out all of these mechanics and really what qualifies as a meeting point. For all we know, a meeting point could really just be some open space somewhere. With the other two conditions met, once enough villagers meet at a meeting point, a golem will have the chance to spawn. Now, of course, these mechanics are still brand new, they were added in yesterday, and we are still in snapshot, so all of this really could change. If you're watching this video to learn about this stuff a few months down the line, just keep in mind that this could be entirely out of date. If that is the case, I will leave a pinned comment with the link to a more updated video. But that just about sums up the mechanics to my knowledge. Let's move on to part 3, which is my farm. Okay, so my iron farm. This is the part of the video that I fully expect to change as more mechanics and better farm designs are figured out. So you might recognize this farm a little bit, and that is of course because I built my design off of an old iron farm design, but of course I had to make quite a bit of changes. Before we dive into this farm, I won't be doing a step-by-step tutorial. I don't know a whole lot about the mechanics yet, so I'll be working on learning the mechanics, and I will of course keep you posted and post a step-by-step tutorial for an iron farm once they are a little more figured out. For now, we have this. Let's start with this big box here. This is a 21 by 21 box. There is a 4-block space in between each floor, and then at the bottom in the center we have a basic iron golem killing chamber with some lava isolated in the middle. On the left and the right of this farm here, I have 2 long chambers spanning the length of this whole box area, and inside of those chambers I have villagers' beds and workstations, as well as a bell in both. Now, there are 14 villagers in each chamber, 10 beds, and 11 workstations. 1 bell as well. So that means 28 villagers in total, which is absolutely absurd. However, when testing this farm, I found 14, and both sides is the number that I kind of needed. I'm sure this number is not the exact or correct number because that's a whole lot of villagers. Either way, though, this is what I'm working with. As you can see, there are no doors on this farm whatsoever. There are also no villages nearby or anything like that, so nothing is really affecting this farm other than everything that I have here. Of course, every so often, an iron golem is spawning, falling down into the lava, and then burning up, and the loot is being thrown in the farm. The rates don't seem all that amazing. They seem pretty much on par with your standard old iron farm that this farm was based off of. Now, honestly, I'm not too sure about this whole meeting points and all of that. Of course, as you can see, the villagers are wandering around and like facing each other, and then some of them will use their workstation every once in a while. But yeah, I'm just not too sure about the meeting point mechanic. In terms of the iron golem spawns, they seem to always be on this box. I haven't had one spawn outside of this area yet, and I have been around this thing for a while. I did orient the beds so that they're facing in towards the middle, maybe assuming that has something to do with the spawning of the golems, but again, it's another piece of information that I am absolutely unsure of. The materials for this build would be pretty easy to collect. There's just a whole lot of them because, of course, we'll need a lot of different materials for each and every workstation. Supplying this thing with villagers would be kind of difficult as well, or at least getting this thing started. The villager breeding required for this thing is going to take a whole lot of time because, yeah, 14 and 14 villagers. So overall, it's a start to 1.14 iron farms. I will leave a world download in the description. By all means, download this world, mess around with the iron farm. I did save a few structure files of iron farms as well, but I've been experiencing some pretty nasty bugs loading those structure files, so just be very, very careful with that. And if you figure out something that I haven't figured out, definitely let me know. Send me a tweet, send me a DM on Discord, something, drop a comment, anything, and of course I'll try and get back to you. But yeah, so what do you think? What are your thoughts on all of these Iron Farm changes? Share them with me down below. Do you like them or do you not? If you enjoyed this video, please help me out by dropping a like and subscribing. If you love what I do have a Patreon where you can support me directly. That can be found down in the description. If you decide to pledge, you will gain access to the Dangercraft Patreon server as well as some other cool benefits. I have a brand new series starting tomorrow, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. I am super excited about it. My name is Waddles. Thank you very much for watching today. Go have a good day. I will see you next time. Goodbye, everybody.